Karen always had a personal vendetta against anything that didn't match her mental IKEA catalog of what a neighborhood should look like. While everyone else tolerated her clipboard crusades, I mostly ignored her until she declared war on my hedge. That hedge wasn't just decorative. I planted it a decade ago when I first bought the property. It was a vibrant, meticulously trimmed, 25-foot stretch of evergreen privacy and bird habitat that separated my lawn from a small gravel path that ran along the inside edge of my property line. Years ago, when a different HOA board existed, I got written approval for it, filed, signed, stamped, and stored. But logic doesn't stand a chance when Karen decides she doesn't like the vibe. One Tuesday morning, while I was out running errands, my neighbor sent me a text. "Hey, I think the HOA is messing with your yard." I pulled up my security camera feed on my phone and nearly drove off the road. Karen was on my property with 2 HOA volunteers, hacking through my hedge like they were auditioning for a discount landscaping horror film. Branches were everywhere. They didn't trim it, they annihilated it. Down to nubs. In some spots, they ripped roots out of the ground. I drove home immediately. By the time I pulled in, they were posing for pictures with the debris piled neatly like they'd done charity work. I asked, as calmly as I could manage, "What exactly do you think you're doing?" Karen didn't even blink. "Your hedge was violating community uniformity standards, obstructing the walking path, and overgrowing into public view. Consider this an HOA-approved correction." The public path she referred to was, in fact, 5 feet inside my property line, clearly marked in my deed. I told her so. She shrugged and said, "Feel free to file a dispute. The board won't side with you." She was right about the board not siding with me, but she forgot boards don't override county law. That night, I documented everything. Photos from all angles, video of them trespassing, and cutting screenshots of her bragging texts in the HOA Facebook group someone forwarded to me. Finally dealt with his ugly hedge. The next morning, I contacted my attorney, the county zoning and environmental preservation office, the postal inspector, because they also damaged the mailbox planter attached to the hedge. Here's where the story goes from petty to catastrophic for her. Years ago, I received a small grant from the county to plant that hedge because it served as a habitat barrier for native birds. The hedge was registered as a protected environmental installation, which means destroying it wasn't violating HOA guidelines. It was a violation of county environmental code. The fine? $1,200 per linear foot of damage. At 25 feet, that's $30,000. And here's the beautiful part. Since Karen admitted in writing that she authorized it as HOA action, the HOA itself became financially liable. They tried to blame the volunteers or say it was just trimming. The zoning officer checked my paperwork, saw the permit and the map, and shut that down fast. The HOA received an official citation and a 60-day order to pay the fines and cover restoration costs. But I opted not to replant the hedge. According to county code, when a natural privacy barrier is destroyed by a third party, the property owner can replace it with a functional equivalent or superior privacy structure. And because the original barrier stood over 6 feet tall, I had no height restriction. So I installed a 10-foot reinforced steel privacy wall with curved top panels, integrated trellises, a locking gate, motion-activated lights, and sound-dampening lining. Permitted, inspected, approved. When construction began, Karen stormed over demanding to see the permit. I handed her a copy and smiled. She threatened to call a vote to have it removed. The zoning officer, who happened to be present that day, looked her dead in the eye and said, "Touch this wall and you'll triple the fines you already owe." The HOA ended up calling an emergency meeting, not to take down the wall, but to discuss raising community dues to cover the fines and legal expenses. People were furious, not at me, at her. She tried to spin it as an honest mistake. Then someone pulled up the Facebook screenshots on a projector. That was the moment her face went from HOA dictator to raccoon in headlights. Today, my steel wall stands proudly where the hedge once was. Ivy's already growing up the sides. The motion lights, which are mounted facing inward for security, still somehow manage to click on whenever Karen walks her dog past. Pure coincidence, of course. And the HOA? They've since updated the bylaws with a new clause. No member may alter, remove, or modify property not deeded to the HOA without written approval and owner consent. They named it informally after her, the Karen Clause, natural consequences, delivered with a steel frame and a smile.